Here's my mini rant, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this week is Games Done Quick. It's a twice a year event. There's Games Done Quick on Twitch, and I've been tuning in and watching it most of the week, usually every year, and I always talk about it on the stream too. Every year I dedicate time to it. I almost have it up the entire workday. I keep it on in the background. I check out some streams. I check out some runs, I should say, races, things like that. And it's a super, super cool event. I always donate a couple bucks here and there whenever I can, 20 bucks, 100 bucks, whatever, to help out in, certain things. Because it is for a great cause. And let me be honest, it's an amazing cause. They help for cancer awareness. They help for research. They take money and they all donate it to charities that, excuse me, sorry, I drank too fast. That really do benefit so many people out there. And it's such a wonderful event because of that, because of what it does to help people. But, and here's the but, I am not super excited about the format of this year's GDQ. And actually, it's become a trend. The last 2 or 3 GDQs that I've watched, and this is weird because what they built that show off of was retro games and people speedrunning classic games. You can do a block of 10 games in 4 or 5 hours. And it's constantly changing because people are doing 10-minute runs of Batman and the Ninja Gaiden and the Battletoads. And it kind of just runs and it flows really quickly. And people are just doing all these crazy streams and it's working really well. Well, I don't know what the deal is, but this year they have flipped everything. In my opinion, the things that built GDQ or a GDQ, it used to be called, there was All Games Done Quick and then Summer Games Done Quick. And now I think it's just called GDQ, Games Done Quick. I think all the things that they built it off of have become super secondary, and now they're focusing on these super popular Pokemons, Zeldas, Final Fantasies, games I'm not even familiar with. I'm not familiar with Diablo 3. I'm not familiar with Baldur's Gate 3. These games that are super huge, Dead Souls or Dark Souls. I sound like an old man when I say these things, I'm sure. I'm just not familiar with them, and maybe that's my problem right there, but they seem to put the prime time viewing hours of say 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. That's your prime time TV time, right? They put games like Final Fantasy 15 and Dark Souls and, oh God, I have to look at the schedule to even remember all the games. But there's these runs that are 25-hour games that they run in 3 to 6 hours. New titles gets more clicks, unfortunately. I'm sure that's what it is. And I'm sure that's why they're doing it. But it takes the original theme of GDQ and flips it into something different where you are going to be sitting and watching some guy doing exploits through these walls and clipping things. And I don't know, it's just watching one streamer for 3 to 6 hours playing a 20-hour game and you can skip an entire cutscene. You can skip this dungeon by doing this. And I get it. It's cool to see that, especially if you're a fan of that game. But I want to see people flying through retro games. And I don't understand why they still do some retro games. They still do the bad games block too. They did it last night. It was from 1 a.m. until 5 a.m. I know that Pickle's up then, but who the fuck else is up then? Why would they do those really kick-ass blocks of, in my opinion, the most exciting part of GDQ in the middle of the night? I'm not going to get up at 1 a.m. and watch blocks of games. They did Gimmick at 4 a.m. I want to watch people racing through Mr. Gimmick. They did a Ninja Gaiden on the Game Gear. I want to see somebody play through that. They played it at 1 a.m. It's all these cool games. So when I get up for work and stuff, I'll come down here and I'll start to set up stuff and work on a few things. And it was 6 a.m. Usually it's 6 a.m. on the weekdays when I do that. And they're just finishing up the coolest blocks of the games. And then I look back at the schedule and I'm oh, sure enough, they played 2 hours worth of NES games and then a Turbo game and then a Genesis game or two, here and there. And it's dude, I just missed it all because they do it in the middle of the night and then it's back to just PC games all day. I don't know, man. Probably because we've seen them so much. I agree. And also, since it's also always been about charity, they're trying to maximize that. I do wish they would sprinkle the retro stuff in between. Maybe, but I mean, if GDQ started in a certain way and it was all about people playing Metroid and Zeldas and Marios, and I get it, you can't do that same thing every year, but you don't tune into the Super Bowl or a professional wrestling event to see something else. I'm not tuning into the Super Bowl to watch people golfing. You know what? I want to watch I want to watch football. I'm not tuning into wrestling to watch, I don't know, race stock car racing. You know what I mean? Like it's like weird that they would do such a huge event and it continues to grow and then shift gears completely and go towards other types of games. Who wants to sit and watch somebody play through a fucking Final Fantasy game from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m.? It's like, well, I beat a 42-hour game in 6 hours. You want to watch me play it? Not really. I don't have the attention span for that. I want to watch speed running. I don't think of 6 hours into sitting in through one game, which is basically half of a TV series, half of a season of a TV series, is considered speed racing. It's not speed anything. It's just speeding up. It's slowing down the show. I saw that they had a dog playing Gyromite. That was pretty wild. That's pretty fucking cool. I would enjoy watching that. A dog playing Gyromite would be a lot of fun. But I'm just saying, there's my 2 cents. I don't understand it. I'd check that out. I would much rather, though, that they would go back to more retro stuff, at least during hours of, I don't know, consciousness. It's a little weird. I love the event, still a big supporter, and I'll still donate some money. Usually I wait till Fridays or Saturdays. Friday's payday too. Not exactly speedrunning either, but it wasn't Zelda, so I guess. And I guess Gyromite's pretty cool to have on there. I'm assuming they were playing with the Rob. The robotic Rob, your best buddy. But hey, I digress. Once Mexican Runner did a speedrun of Battletoads blindfolded, there was just nothing left. Oh, I guess, right? Yeah, I do like Mexican Speedrunner. He's good. He plays a lot of classic NES games. I mean, maybe, and I saw people playing through Ocarina of Time blindfolded too. I get it, but sometimes it's just cool to see those things again. Or one of my favorite things is the races. They did one of the GBA Kirby games. Again, it was like 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning. I think it was just this morning too. They were playing one of the GBA Kirby games, and there were 4 of them at once, and they were racing through it. Those things I love. Like I'd love to see people blasting through, Mario 3 or something and doing a race. I like the racing aspect of it. There are other speedrunning events too every year. There's the one at VGM Con that we watched. Myself and Felicia Fancybottom watched live some of it. Speedrun races. There's a whole Castlevania racing channel on Twitch, and it's sick. Yes, there are channels that are specifically about racing. Yes, there's a Contra one too, but the Contra one just does all run-and-gun games. So they do like Mercs and Midnight Resistance and Contra and Metal Slug and Gunstar Heroes. Like they were doing all of those, and they have like the 4 TVs set up with the 4 different racers going at the same time. It's really good. Spyro Grand Prix last year was nuts. That's awesome. That's super cool. So maybe I just need to tune into some of those events and get my fix that way. But I'm bummed that Games Done Quick seems to be shifting into a different area, and it's just not as fun for me. I've had it on every day for a couple hours, but usually I switch it off throughout the day because it's just boring. What's up? Next, they're going to do a Cyberpunk 2077, and it'll be like, speedrunning this game. I can beat it in 4 hours. Like, okay, cool. Dutton, what are you trying to do, buddy? I got a puppy and 2 cats in the room today with me while I'm trying to stream tonight, so. All right. So, here's what we're going to do.